Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 in a best of 3 between Włochaty and Player in the semi-finals of Herr Robert's Grand Tournament. Today we are going to be seeing Colin Bell, and on the Allied side the 7th Armoured under command of Włochaty. On the Axis side, Player has chosen the 9th Panzer. So, in the last game, it really surprised me. I don't think, since I've started casting games of Włochaty, I've seen anyone dismantle him in such a way. Player played so damn well and just took advantage of all of the mistakes that Włochaty made and really pushed for the victory, reaching the 2,500 points very quickly indeed. In this one, we'll have to see if Włochaty can bring it back, because if he does not, then he will be pushed down into the 3rd place final, and of course he will want to be in the actual final. So yeah, I hope we have another really good game on our hands, because that last one was really exciting to watch. I really just, the whole game was on fire. It was just action from start to finish. So if you guys missed that game, definitely go and check it out. But for this one, let's talk about these divisions. 7th Armoured, of course, a very good division. One that if you're on the Allied side, people often will opt for if it's not bad. And that's because they can make great use of the recon Stuarts. And it's often a strategy to bring in 2 of them at the start, because they have high veterancy, which enables them to hit units at range. They also have like fast aim time, so at close range they are very good. On top of that, and probably one of the best things about them, is they actually have a 50 cal in comparisons to other Stuarts, which only have like 330 cals maximum. So that's something that the 7th Armoured can make use of to pin down units very quickly and exploit ground very quickly as well. Let's have a look at some of the units going down on the side of the 7th Armoured. So on the top side, we've got a couple of motorised rifles. Further down, it's going to be 2 units of Desert Rats and the Stuart Remy with the command infantry. That's likely to be pushing for the factory. Followed up by one of the Stuart 5s. Further down, it's going to be the Staghound, following up a Desert Rats and motorised rifles. And on the bottom, it's going to be the Stuart Recce there with the recon infantry. Now on the side of the 9th Panzer, they are well known for their Marders and also the Panzer II looks and like Panzer II combos they can pull off. So Panzer II looks, Befehl Panzer II-C and the Panzer I-C, which can also be very, very good for the factory sort of engagement range. But it doesn't look like something that Player has opted for. On the top side, he has got a looks and a Panzer I-C. But they're going to be accompanied by a Pak 38, a couple of Panzer Grenadiers, and the command infantry there. There's going to be a Pak 38 heading towards the mid road, a little bit further down, and then into the factory we see 1 Panzer Grenadier, 1 Sturmpioneer, some command infantry. On the very bottom side, it's going to be a Pak 38 and the 251 with the spear troop. Now, I can already see that this Pak 38 not having veterancy could be a pretty big issue here. Oh, that first shot from the Staghound bailing out the 251 is pretty damn nice. And these infantry have managed to get up very far indeed. This Pak 38 potentially unloaded a bit too far forwards. I really like this tree line as a place to deploy my AT guns on this map, because they can cover both of these roads. And it's always likely that infantry might make it into here, and therefore that leaves the Pak 38 in a pretty difficult spot. And this Stuart Recce has found it and will now be able to fire upon it with both its 50 and 30 cal. And that's the only thing currently defending this bottom side. There is now a Panzer Schreck and the Panzer II look on the way, but this is really bad for Player at this moment in time. He needs to basically fill up this hole very quickly, or it's going to just get worse and worse. Now, Desert Rats versus Panzer Grenadiers and Sturmpioneers. At this sort of range, it's kind of ideal for the Desert Rats because they have a decent amount of HE that can really do a lot of damage, whilst the Sturm Pioneers can't make full use of their flamethrowers. And that's something that can be very irritating when it comes to these factory engagements. Flamethrowers don't really work too well, it's very deceiving. Sometimes they can, like if you can get onto the edge buildings and find that little bit extra range you need to actually use the flamethrower, but within 50-meter range, like the flamethrowers just don't work. Anyway, Staghound's going to be engaging the Panzer II Lux here, and that's not an engagement that favours the Panzer II Lux at all, since the Staghound does have the 8 AP that can penetrate the 5 front armour of the Lux, whilst the Lux 4 AP does not penetrate a Staghound very easily at all. Now the Desert Rats did push on to the Sturm Pioneers to take them out. Panzer Grenadiers just completely bailed. They got the hell out of Dodge. Pak 38 will hold back the M5 half-track for now, but M3 autocar has been brought in on the top side to counter the Panzer 1 and Panzer 2. So at the moment, it seems as though player is really struggling. Their Staghound managed to take out the half-track behind the factory. It's taken out the Panzer II Lux, and now the Panzer 1C moving aggressively. It's going to have to get really close if it wants to take on a Staghound, and that is not going to be the case. Staghound does take it out with that shot. So now Włochaty just continuously taking more and more ground from player. He even finds and kills off the Panzerschreck there, thanks to the Recce spotting those. And yeah, again, player in such a tough spot. Włochaty just breaking through so damn decisively. Both players seem to be on form with their games in this series against each other. Really taking advantage of the mistakes the other makes. And in this case, and in my opinion, the AT placement on the bottom side was careless, and also the fact that he didn't bring in any sort of command with it gave a lot of potential for the Pak 38 to be overrun. Now on this top side, I like the aggression of these Panzers onto the M3 autocar. Since that has only 3 armor, it can be exploited in this way, using the fast move and the fact that these Panzers can fire on the move to take it out. Unfortunate that he hasn't taken it out so far though, especially with the Panzer II Lux engaging at that range for a short amount of time. But now the Stuart 5 has come in, there is potential that that is going to finish off the remainder of these units, and the autocar will actually survive this engagement, which is very unfortunate indeed. Meanwhile, Włochaty still solidifying his position on this bottom side, has moved motorized rifles very far up. Engagement at close range with this Panzer II Lux is going to be successful for the Staghound and the Stuart 5, although the internal fragments may be a little bit awkward there for Włochaty, but with the Stuart 5 I guess that's not really going to matter. The last Panzer Gren is going to be found. Whether or not he dies remains to be seen. M3 autocar did eventually get bailed out by the Panzer 1C, but that is taking its sweet time to find the kill. M5 half-track now coming up with some motorized rifles to take on the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grens might be able to pin the motorized rifles by getting the hit there onto the half-track, and they do indeed. A quick jump forwards there might have been a double surrender, but didn't quite find the time to do so. Obviously microing elsewhere in full panic mode as Włochaty is really exploiting his advantage the best he can. Stuart cleans up that Panzerschreck squad. Motorized rifles, they get the hit onto the half-track. With that blowing up next to the Sturm Pioneers, they are going to be pinned down very quickly, and the half-tracks can exploit those with a lovely surrender. Once again, another Pak 38 without command is going to be under pressure for sure. Basically what's going to happen here is this Stuart Remy with its high veterancy can just come around the corner and probably kill the Pak 38 before the Pak 38 has a chance to fire back. Or at least pin it down before it has a chance to fire back if it's micro properly, which in this case it doesn't look like it is being, since it's just on a move order rather than an attack move order, and that's not ideal. Spitfire Mark 9 might save the day. Just about. Weapon jam for the Stuart Remy though is not very fun. The Spitfire Mark 9 bombed the Pak 38 on the top side. Braced the Pak 38 in the mid. That's going to allow the Stuart 5 to take advantage, which is still nice for Włochaty. And well, the fact he's sitting on a +3 right now is pretty spectacular. And a very nice position for Włochaty to be in at this point in the game. So the Stuart Remy, although it doesn't have its weapons available, can still be used to surrender units, and was planning to there, but the Stuart 5 got the job done. Spitfire Mark 9 finishes the strafing run onto the Pak 38. Panzer 1 trying to stay out of line of sight of the Stuart 5, but the Stuart 5s can be so damn aggressive because they aim so quickly, and with their high veterancy they barely ever miss, and that's something you saw happen right there. Usually you'd have to be a little bit cautious advancing a unit like that, but with these Stuart 5s, because they're so proficient, it's just really awkward to play against. Anyway, double Panzer 1C coming in on the bottom. With these motorised rifles being in position, there is potential here for a couple of Piat kills. Going to be interesting to see if the Piats can actually hit the mark. In this case they do not, and honestly we could say that there is no surprise there. These motorised rifles will have a decent shot. Can they find the hit? They actually bail out the Panzer 1C on the move. Very nice. Panzer Grenadiers do move up. Get the Panzerfaust onto the M5 half-track. Recce and motorised rifles going to do a swap as they now engage the Panzer Grenadiers there. Now, one thing this Panzer 1C has done is found a lot of ground behind these infantry squads, which means that the salient sort of formed in players' favour. But if these Panzer Grenadiers end up getting pinned, then this Panzer 1C will be surrounded. Also, this Desert Rat did a good job of taking out a Panzer in the factory here. And now with the motorised rifles taking out the second Panzer 1C and engaging the Panzer Grenadiers at 100 meter range, they actually have the advantage, because that's going to be 8 HE versus the Panzer Grenadiers 5. And things not really going very well for player throughout this game. I think the main thing just comes from the efficient trades that Włochaty has been able to make with his Stuart 5s and the Staghounds. And that is just like such an important factor. Allowing the Panzerschreck to fire there is a little bit careless, because you don't really want it to reveal its location if you want to get the ambush onto the Stuart 5. Because now you never are. Especially if you have a Panzer 2C sitting on this train track, there's no reason why you can't just fast move that up and take the shot at the half track if it gets too close to the Panzerschreck. Anyway, this is the Staghound that's got an internal fragment, so the Panzer 1C just going to be driving towards that and firing all it's got. The Stuart 5 is on its way, and that will be able to cover off that aggression. The Spitfire Mark 9 is also still in the air once again, and that's going to be coming in with a 10 HE power bomb to help out and swing the engagement in favour of the Stuart 5 as it occurs. Oh, it actually just straight up bombed the Panzer 2, or the Panzerschreck, sorry. Panzer 2 goes down to the Stuart 5. Another clean engagement there, +4 now for Włochaty. Player is desperately trying to make some ground back, but with now 3 Stuart 5s on the map, that is going to be incredibly difficult to play into, since moving into phase B, the best tank he gets is like a Panzer 4, and at closer range engagements, these Stuarts can still take them out, which is really, really hard to deal with, because the Stuart 5s can use a lot of these buildings for cover, and the Panzer 4s just won't aim as quickly as the Stuarts do. So 4 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock. It's certainly turning into a bit of a stomp. Włochaty defeating player quite convincingly so far. Player, though, did have a great first game. It seems as though Włochaty has come back in this one with the 7th Armoured and trying to show player what's up. Włochaty does manage to take out a Panzerschreck there. These motorised rifles proving to be very annoying in this hangar area. However, if they die, that's going to be a lot of territory potentially swinging in favour of player. That creep will catch up to the Panzergrens, and then all of the territory will start to cover players' infantry. However, now we see a 2v1, two Stuarts trying to take on a Panzer IV-J. Panzer IV-J with the hand crank turret is going to take its sweet time to aim, and you can see as it does come under fire, it is going to be forced back. Those Stuart 5s just so damn accurate that they do pin very quickly, and with a crew wound and surely side armor facing to one of these Stuarts, there's going to be a kill eventually. And there we go. Panzer IV goes down, another Panzer IV-J on its way. But it seems as if włochaty has already done enough. And if he continues to kill these Panzer IVs, there is no chance of coming back for player. włochaty is now approaching the 2,000 point mark. Stuart 5s once again engage the Panzer IV, and with the first shot gets a crew knockout. Once again, the accuracy really helping out there. And the Stuart 5 on the top side finds the killing blow. Pioneers just don't stand a chance to the 50 cals. We can now see that an AT gun is also joining the fray. That's going to be a 6-pounder to cover the spawn. Just making things so damn difficult. Now the territory did get taken back on this bottom side here, but I don't believe that that's really going to be enough to make the difference at this point in the game. When you fall 2,000 points behind, like 14 minutes into the match, you're in trouble. And crew knockout once again there. Whereas these Stuart 5s can't really penetrate a Panzer IV-J at max range, a 6-pounder certainly can, and even more than that, an Achilles certainly can. Panzer IV-J in such a tough spot with the track wheel destroyed, it is not going anywhere. Plenty of time for the AT gun or the Achilles to find the kill. I think that was one of the Stuart 5s did in the end. Now just a few units left on the bottom side for włochaty to clean up. Now brought in another Stuart 5. These Stuart 5s are absolutely ludicrous sometimes, and in this game it has certainly shown. So 251 forced to fall back. Stuart 5 doing a fantastic job. Looks like these field engineers, they're trying to flamethrower the Panzer 1C, but that's not really working out for them well at the moment, and they do end up getting taken out. Back to a +3 for włochaty, but at the end of the day it's still a +3. Especially when you're over 2,000 points, that is very significant. And now I think both the mid and top land spawns have been captured. So player can no longer use them. He has to bring in all of his forces from the bottom 2 land spawns. And when that becomes the case, you know you're in a tough spot. And although player has been trying to make these breakouts, it always felt as if player, or włochaty, sorry, still had all of the units he needed left on the map. His unit preservation for these Stuart 5s has been absolutely perfect, and eventually player is forced to surrender. And after 15 minutes and 24 seconds, włochaty is going to bring back the second game in this best of 3 in the semi-finals of Herr Robert's Grand Tournament. Wow. Very, very convincing victory there for włochaty, and you can now probably see why in the first game I was very surprised how convincingly player defeated włochaty, because włochaty can definitely do the same back. Now this leads on to a third game, and I'm honestly very excited. Although this was a 7th Armoured Stomp, it definitely gives us the potential for an epic third game, and that's really exciting. But in the end, 1,565 kills for 625 losses. Such a good KD. That is very nice indeed. Stat count, clean kills there onto the Panzer II Lux, the Panzer 1C, and another Panzer II Lux there. Stuart 5s though. When a Stuart 5 picks up 4 Panzer IV-J kills, you know something's wrong. That is incredible. That is the majority of the kills actually for the side of włochaty. motorized rifles also killing both of those Panzer 1Cs on the bottom side was very important, and cleaning up the Panzer was just a bonus. A really nicely microed motorized rifle squad there from Włochaty. Also, this Stuart, or the Spitfire Mark 9 was used very well as well, especially considering player couldn't really afford to contest that in the skies. In terms of losses, the Pak-38s, they did kill a few stuff here and there, but I think their lack of veterancy really let them down. I'm not going to lie. I think the Pak-38s were misplaced on the bottom at the start there, which really allowed that push to come through. And then from there, it was just very difficult for player to come back into. Because, and the main reason for that is because the units that Włochaty are using, like the Stuarts and the Staghounds, the closer they get to your spawn, the more they can sort of exploit close range engagements. And for Staghounds and Stuarts, it's perfect for them to be as close as possible, because any armor they come up against is going to have a lower aim time. And since also the 7th Armoured has a lot of veterancy on their units, that's all they're just going to be more accurate off the bat, and getting those first shots on target is incredibly important and something that Włochaty definitely exploited throughout this game. And that is pretty much it. So let's hope for an epic third game between these two players, because wow, they've certainly showed that they can take each other out as quickly as each other. Incredible stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.